Hello, this is Brian Resney, president of Resney Wealth Management, bringing you an important update about the economy and the investment markets. Well, we're in week 5 of the Iran conflict, and things appear to progress nicely, meaning Iran's capabilities are going down. Now, how long will this war ultimately last? It could be another week. It could be another 5 or 6 months. It's really hard to tell. What is that going to do ultimately to the overall economies of the world and the investment markets is really what you should be asking yourself. We look at these things every single day. Remember, we are not going to act on emotion. As I've discussed with every single client on updates from the last 38 years of us managing money, things go up and down and often at new highs. 6 steps up, 2 steps down. We, in my opinion, are at the 2-step point coming down. Generally speaking, the overall markets are only down around 10%, which is actually pretty low. That's only about half as much as the markets were down back last April when we had the tariff talk and negotiations and really the overall situation with the world tariffs where people were concerned about, is this really going to hamper the economy, recession, inflation, and so on. So with that said, we're down to essentially 10% in the overall markets. Other things are actually up, but the markets are down around 10%. This, in my opinion, is going to be no different than any other geopolitical event that we've seen for 38 years that I've been managing money, and certainly no different than any other geopolitical event over the last 200 years. These things come and go. Unfortunately, the biggest concern we have is that our service people hopefully do not get harmed, and really we lose as little life as possible. But our service people are doing a tremendous job. Why did we get into this conflict is really the main thing I think people need to understand. Iran's been around for 47 years. From the start of their regime 47 years ago, they killed 300 of our service people. From the get-go, they've killed countless more thousands over the years, and that's just U.S. troops and individuals, not counting other countries and not counting their own people. They were clearly on the path for a nuclear bomb. In fact, now, from the information coming out, they're saying they have enough uranium to build 10 nuclear warheads. That is not a good thing. So in my opinion, doing what should have been done 10 or 20 years ago is being done today. Basically dismantling Iran's capability for nuclear war or a nuclear attack. I am more than willing to pay up for gas for the next 2 or 3 or 4 months until this conflict is over. And I think most of our clients would feel the same way. And I think generally speaking, the world is starting to open up. Remember, Iran didn't have missiles that can actually reach Europe, at least they thought a few weeks ago, until 2 missiles basically almost hit Europe. So at the end of the day, Iran's a bad actor. It will get resolved. This will be a short-lived conflict in our opinion. And what ultimately is going to happen is oil prices, as fast as they went up, they're going to come down equally as quick. If we get Iran back online, and I've talked about this before, Venezuela is already coming back online in a big way. These are the 2 out of the top 5 oil producers in the world. Oil prices could be easily $50 per barrel by the end of the year if this conflict, again, is resolved in the next month or 2, hopefully sooner. That is net positive for the world economies, not only inflation, but growth. Remember, everything runs off oil or oil related, and having cheaper energy prices is going to benefit everyone in the world. So I'm very optimistic the next 3 to 5 years. Am I less optimistic the next 1 or 2 or 3 weeks? Yes, but we don't manage money looking at the short term. One thing that I'm proud to say, and again, not that you can't call if you're concerned, but we received 0 phone calls from any client of concern about this war conflict. And I would say that's very impressive. And I think a couple things speak to mind. Number one, we are communicating with you exceptionally well. Again, nobody likes volatility. I always want your money to go straight up. We know that's not going to happen. So again, 6 steps up, 2 steps back. We are in the 2-step down phase. Great time to add to your accounts if you're sitting on that extra cash at home. And this is an excellent time to refer your family and friends to Resney Wealth Management so they can get the same quality management that you're receiving. But with that said, overall, the U.S. economy has been resilient. Inflation isn't that bad. it's actually overall is abating, but it's ticked up a little bit because of these oil prices, so expect that. If I look at where the economy is headed by the end of the year, I still think we could hit new high ground in the overall equity market, assuming this conflict gets done in the next month or two or sooner. I think if I look at the world economy and I look at what's happening with reshoring of all these goods and services back to the U.S., I look at drug prices coming down. I look at, generally speaking, the manufacturing whole complex where things are coming back to the U.S. over the next 3 to 5 years. That ultimately is going to give us more geopolitical stability. And I think what's going to happen ultimately once this Iran conflict is really done, I think you're going to see a few more pipelines built in the Saudi region that go to the other basic Gulf states in order to ship instead of the Straits of Hormuz. That would be another geopolitical powerhouse to kind of squash future problems in that region in general. Remember, Iran's even shooting at their own allies, which is completely crazy. But I think they did that thinking their allies would then come and say, hey, U.S., stop basically bombing Iran, which hasn't actually happened. I think the whole world has opened up to realize Iran is a bad actor. Their missiles can hit other parts of the world. And if we don't all work together to get rid of a regime like Iran, we're going to have issues. The other one is going to be Cuba. I think Cuba is going to be next, but it's going to be a friendly one. I think Cuba eventually will go back to the people, and the days of the communist regime in Cuba will be done. Again, another positive for the world. I see lots of positives. I see some short-term negatives, but ultimately I see growth in the U.S. economy, and I still see this as the best place to be invested. If you have any questions about your portfolio or any concerns, give the office a call. We'd love to talk to you. And make sure you keep us in mind with referrals of family and friends so they can get the same quality management you're receiving. And make sure you do forward this video, this update video, onto your friends and family so they can also learn what you're learning. Have a safe and profitable day.